It concealed predators, yet it also offered life. Drops of rain, bits of fruit, and the faint direction of flowing water that promised a path toward help. The nights were cold, the days suffocatingly hot. Mosquitoes feasted on every inch of exposed skin. The sounds of the jungle became a cruel lullaby, a reminder that nature was alive, watching, indifferent to human suffering. Yet step by step, the survivor moved forward. The mind, filled with grief and pain, found purpose and motion. Memories of the fallen aircraft lingered like ghosts in the trees, but those memories also became strength. There was no map, no guidance, only intuition and the faint whisper of hope that somewhere, beyond the horizon of trees, there was rescue. The journey through the jungle became a test of faith and endurance. At times, hallucinations blurred the line between dream and reality. Hunger forced the consumption of whatever could be found: berries, rainwater, and the willpower to imagine better days. Each obstacle faced, from venomous creatures to treacherous terrain, became proof of life's stubborn resistance. And yet, even in despair, there were moments of beauty. The sight of light breaking through the trees, the sound of birds returning after the storm. The touch of wind that whispered survival was still possible. Nature, for all its cruelty, began to guide rather than destroy. After days of wandering, weakened but not defeated, the survivor emerged from the labyrinth of green, discovered by those who could scarcely believe the story that would soon astonish the world. The battle after the fall was not just against hunger or pain. It was a battle against fear, loneliness, and the weight of the impossible. It was proof that survival is not merely living, it is fighting step by step, breath by breath, against every force that tries to silence the human spirit. When the story of survival finally reached the world, it was met with disbelief. Newspapers called it impossible, scientists struggled to explain it, and ordinary people could only marvel at the idea that someone had fallen from the sky and lived to tell the tale. Yet beneath the awe and confusion, the story carried something far greater, a message that reached beyond the facts, beyond the physics, beyond the miracle. It became a lesson about the indestructible power of the human spirit and the mysterious hand of fate that sometimes guides us through the darkest storms. In a world often ruled by reason, this story stood as an act of defiance against everything we think we know. It was proof that life cannot always be measured in equations or limited by the boundaries of logic. How could one fragile human body endure a fall from the heavens, survive the destruction of metal and fire, and live through days alone in one of the harshest environments on Earth? There was no simple answer, only the quiet understanding that some events are meant to remind humanity of something greater than itself. The message was not only about survival, it was about hope, the kind that exists even in the heart of catastrophe. It told the world that even when all seems lost, when the sky itself turns against you, life still finds a way to continue. It was a voice rising from silence, whispering that endurance, courage, and faith can overcome forces beyond comprehension. For many, the story became a mirror of their own struggles. People saw in it not just a tale of aviation disaster, but a reflection of what it means to endure heartbreak, loss, and fear, and still keep going. The fall from the sky symbolized every fall a human being experiences in life, the moments when everything collapses, when the ground rushes toward you and you think there's no way out. Yet, just as this lone survivor proved, even from the highest fall, one can rise again. The story also carried a message about humility, a reminder that humanity's greatest strength lies not in machines or progress, but in the simple resilience of the human heart. Technology may fail, structures may crumble, but the will to survive remains unbreakable. But it showed that within every human being lies a quiet force, invisible but immense. That awakens only when tested by the impossible. For those who believed in destiny, the survival was seen as more than coincidence. It was as though the universe itself had chosen a witness, someone to carry the truth of fragility and faith back to the rest of humankind. Through that survival, the world was reminded that life is both precious and unpredictable, that it can vanish in an instant, yet also endure through miracles we can't explain. In the end, the girl who fell from the sky became more than a historical event. It became a symbol. A reminder that no matter how far we fall, hope can still catch us before we hit the ground. That message, born from tragedy, continues to echo through time, a timeless truth carved into the heart of human history. Years passed, but the story of the one who fell from the sky never faded. It traveled across borders and generations, whispered in classrooms, written in books, and spoken with awe by those who could hardly believe it true. It became more than a story. It became a legend, a testament to the unbroken strength that exists within the human soul. The miracle of survival transformed into a timeless symbol, reminding the world that courage does not always roar. Sometimes it breathes quietly in the heart of those who refuse to give up. For the survivor, life after the fall was not easy. The body healed slowly, but the mind carried the weight of memory, the flash of the explosion, the endless fall, the days of wandering through the jungle. Yet, from those memories rose not fear, but purpose. Survival had given meaning to suffering. It had shown that the human spirit could endure pain and isolation and still find light at the end of despair. Every scar became a mark of victory, proof that life, though fragile, is stronger than destruction. Around the world, the story inspired countless others. To those trapped in wars, disasters, and hardships, it became a reminder that no darkness lasts forever. Teachers spoke of it as an example of human resilience. Scientists studied it to understand the limits of endurance. Poets and filmmakers turned it into a metaphor for hope. But at its heart, the story remains simple. A human being who faced the impossible and lived. The legacy of this event lies not in the fall itself, but in what followed. It proved that survival is not just about escaping death. It's about how one lives afterward. The survivor chose not to be defined by tragedy, but by strength. She turned personal pain into universal inspiration, reminding the world that even after falling from the sky, one can stand again with purpose. Every time this story is told, it reawakens a truth humanity often forgets, that within each of us exists a force capable of defying the impossible. The fall was physical, but the rise that followed was spiritual. It symbolized every human's journey through despair, every battle fought in silence, every soul that refuses to surrender even when the world collapses around it. Generations later, the tale still carries weight, not just as history, but as a lesson in perseverance. It reminds us that no failure is final, no fall irreversible. Life, even when shattered, can rebuild itself in extraordinary ways. The girl who fell from the sky became a beacon of endurance, proof that one life, lived bravely, can inspire millions to hold on when everything seems lost. Today, her story lives on not merely in books or films, but in the hearts of those who face their own battles. She is no longer just a survivor, she is a symbol of resilience, of hope, and of humanity's unbreakable will. Her fall was the world's tragedy, but her survival became the world's greatest triumph. Thus, the legacy of the unbroken continues, whispering through time that no matter how far we fall, we can always rise again.